So I've been working away, as you can see. So I've created a new type of a world. I'm using Berlin noise to generate the terrain. You can see it's running quite fast. The first time I actually ran this, it did so with 10 FPS. So now it's a bit better because I'm culling all the faces and stuff like that. Now the big problem with this currently I'm trying to see what's the best way of doing is generating the world takes an awful lot of time. An insane amount of time for how simple it is. As you can see, I'm running the game and it's taking quite a bit. It's probably going to take even longer because I'm recording, but I've got some timers set up over here. So populate chunks, you can see takes around 7 seconds, and then the total setup for the world takes 13 seconds. And not to mention just loading the V buffers into, you can see I pressed the button, it's froze. It takes another 3-4 seconds to generate the vertex buffers for the world. Okay, so a quick update. It's actually quite better now. You can see the world generates in 87 hundredths, almost a second. It's way better. It was, what was it? It was like 6, I think, or something like that. Now it's a bit better. It still takes a while. I just clicked. It still takes 3 or 4 seconds to generate the vertex buffers, but I'm working on that right now. The main thing I've changed is, basically how it used to work is for the air blocks, or in this case I call them empty tiles. I used to generate all of them all the way through the top of the world, basically, and it uses data because these are structs, and they have functions, and they have variables, and they do stuff for setup. And so all of this stuff takes a little bit of time, but once you have millions of these tiles in the world, especially air tiles that don't draw anything, don't do anything, this setup time is basically wasted. So what I do right now, if it's an air tile, I don't even generate it. It's just -1 in the code. It's not even a struct or anything. So that improved, and so I kind of want to try do the same thing with the vertex buffers right now, because I'm not skipping any of the air tiles basically when I'm building vertex buffers, right? Alright, so I managed to do it, but it didn't really change the performance much. You'll see that. There we go, I clicked it, and it should take a little below 5 seconds. Okay, this time it kind of lagged a bit. But it's basically a 1% increase in performance. Like, if even that, even that might be overestimating it. It could be a bigger performance boost if our world had more height variance, but right now it doesn't. But yeah, also I just want to demonstrate that it works. So if I middle click on any of the blocks, it will say what the z-min and z-max for that particular XY coordinate of the world. Yeah, so it's basically not even trying to go above that or below that. If you have, let me just do this. Right, so now this block is gonna be z-min 3 and 3. So it basically only just considers that block in this column. And you'll see now if I click it, it's gonna say 3, 6, because we have this column of blocks. Yeah, I was really hoping for a bigger performance boost, but it is what it is, I guess. Just a quick update before I go to sleep. So I've started trying to make the world generation seamless. As you can see, I kind of done it successfully over here. So this is the middle thing I'm just removing is the actual world, and there are additional 8 copies of the world around it, so that, you know, it's seamless. It's sort of an endless world. I'm basically emulating a globe or a planet. You know, when you walk off one edge of the planet, you're just back into, you just wrap back around. That's what I'm trying to make. So I'm trying to figure out how to do this, how to generate a proper permutation table with proper amount of detail, and how to make it look consistent with different sizes of planets and stuff like that. And I can't quite get it to work, you know. If I try a different size, I just get, you know, I get seams and stuff like that. It's kind of weird. Yeah, so it's not very obvious at the very start, but you start noticing that there's an obvious seam, like right here. So this is not good. See, there's a almost a seam right here in the way that the world connects back, in the way the world sort of wraps on itself. Obviously there's similarities, but right there it's very obvious. Look, that straight line, that's a seam. So I have to play around with this and just figure out some sort of an equation that gives me seamless wraparound worlds or planets with different sizes and different detail settings and whatnot. So I'm happy to say that I finally figured this out. It's the next day, and we have tileable worlds. As you can see, this is one instance of the world, and it tiles perfectly with the rest. It's random right now, so every time I generate, it's going to be a different one. I'm not controlling the seed. I've seen some pretty beautiful worlds, but it's all random, you know. I can create different sizes, so I can do maybe, let's do a really big one. Let's do 16. And this is going to take a little bit of time because I'm generating the whole world all at once. There we are. 4 seconds for the vertices, and you can see it's a big world. I can also control, let's do a smaller one. Let's do 8. The amount of detail. So lower the detail, the smoother the world is going to be. So if I do 0.25, it's going to be a smoother world, as you can see. Less height variance. Not really less height variance. Yeah, but less height variance, I guess. And if you do something like 4, it's going to be very jagged with lots of detail and stuff like that. And as you can see, they tile perfectly again. There's nothing to worry about here. The only limitation here is that size times detail, and I wrote it here, has to be an integer between 1 and 512, because that's how permanently noise works. Otherwise, you know, it won't wrap correctly. So if I do something like detail 0.3, which is obviously, it's not gonna tile correctly, as you can see. It's not very obvious, but let me show you. Yeah, you can see it over there. Like this feature is cut off in half and stuff like that. I'm trying to get over to that side. There you go. This feature is kind of cut in half, and then, you know, this is the next repetition of the world. It doesn't really tile correctly, so you have to make sure these values are, you know, correct, or something like 1.35. let's do, you know, I think this is going to be a bit more obvious, and you can immediately see those seams that we saw before, seams between the repetitions of the world. It's quite obvious, and that over there. So yeah, that's kind of the only limitation here.